Hi, I'm Dave from boyinaband.com and welcome to day 4 of the 7-day song on Bassline. Yesterday in day 3, I taught you how to make 2 more bass synths, a wah bass and a wobble bass. Today, I'll be adding the last 2 bass synths for this 7-day song, a house-style punchy bass and a dirty bass that wouldn't seem out of place in some filthy dubstep. Okay, let's begin. Let's start with that house-like synth I mentioned. Right-click and create a combinator, and name it house bass. Create a Thor instance inside it, initialize it, and open it up with Show Programmer. And before we start messing around with the programmer, we're going to change it to mono retrig. This means that the synth will only play one note at a time, and each time it plays the note, all the envelopes down here will be triggered again, even if the notes flow into each other in the sequencer. You might want to go back and change the other basses to mono retrig while you're at it. Okay, I'll add in some notes and then we'll come back and see what we can do. Okay, so we've got the notes in there, so let's edit this bitch. And by bitch I mean synth patch. This is a hollow sounding patch, so the first thing you should think when making a hollow sounding patch is, did you guess? Square waves. So, change the analog oscillator to a square wave. Remember, the pulse wave only becomes a square wave when the pulse width here is in the center. For added thickness, oscillator 2 should be a multi-oscillator, slightly detuned, and taken up 2 octaves. This will be the most prominent part of the synth's tone. Make sure it's on the square wave mode, and send it through with a 2 button. Lastly, we're going to add a little harmonic overtone as the audible cherry on top. Make an FM pair oscillator, with the carrier 1 and the mod as whatever you like. I think I'm just going to keep scrolling until I get bored of scrolling. 10, that'll do. Yeah, I'll go for 10 because I have a thing for binary. FM should be about 5/8 of the way around, just so it's modulated a decent amount. And finally send it through with the 3 button. And let's have a listen to what we've got. Okay, so we've got the basis of it there. Now, onto the filter. Turn the frequency to just below halfway. Just a little bit down there. And the ENV value to about the same, just to halfway. So the filter envelope has a decent amount of control over the filter. Turn the filter's decay down to about 700 milliseconds, and I'll show you what happens as we do that. Okay, it's got a slight click at the start of it now. In the amp envelope, turn the release up to about between 400 and 500 milliseconds, and let's have a listen again. There we go. Just so the sound tails off a little bit. Turn on the chorus to widen it a bit, and bring down that dry wet a little bit. So it's still got a decent amount of focus. Okay, so that's the main part of it. Now we're going to use our new best friend, the BV512 vocoder, to rip some big chunks out of the sound like a rabid, starving dog on a fat guy that fell in a vat of barbecue sauce. So create it, then turn it to equalizer mode and 8 band. I'll leave the shift this time, but I'm going to completely remove bands 2, 4, and 8, and take up 7 to full. And that just leaves us with that hollow sounding part of the synth. And let's take a listen. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So let's take a look at those notes. I wanted to go for uber cheese with this section, so I made a happy little riff. The first notes jump from the root note C to the 3rd E flat. And as you may remember from the trance 7-day song tutorial, thirds are a surefire way to make pretty music. But any musical tension that might have been created as a result is shattered when I go to the happy 4th and 5th in the key. With no sort of pedal as a reference point, the riff just sounds kind of bouncy and silly, which is perfect. The riff itself alternates between the on-beat and off-beat. If we zoom in, you can see we've got off-beat, on-beat, then on-beat, off-beat. That gives it a nice little groove, and I found this is the key to making catchy little riffs that drill into your mind like a psychotic brain surgeon. So, that's the happy synth. Join me in part 2 for something considerably dirtier as we delve into another dubstep-esque bass.